Okay, this week for our volunteers segment, I am being taken back to my days as a guide and a brownie, an adventure and in the gang show, because I am surrounded by, I'm going to say I'm surrounded by scouts. Is that accurate? Are you all scouts or not? Andrew, you're a scout.
I think once you're a scout, you're always a scout, yes.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So I've got Andrew, I've got Paul, and I've got Libby with me. There's a lot of good work being done, right?
It's absolutely a lot of good work being done. In our scout group, there's probably 45 adults putting in 3 hours a week each. It's a huge voluntary commitment. And
Libby, how old are you?
I'm 15.
And how long have you been involved in the Scouts?
8 years.
8 years?
Yeah.
See, and sort of like Scout Camp and Cub Camp, that sort of thing is a thing that a lot of people associate with scouting and guiding. Yeah. But it's not just about the camps, is it? I mean, that's sort of almost like a tiny little segment of the year.
Yes, yeah, well, because you meet up once a week and then you do, like, your sessions, and when you're in Explorers, you plan the programme that you're going to do, and then in Cubs, the leaders do it, but, like, the children have an input.
So when I was a brownie, which is quite a long time ago, we'll gloss over just how much long ago that was, I wasn't allowed to be a scout. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think it's right, really. I mean, like, I'm a scout. I've done Beavers, Cubs, Scouts, and I'm now in Explorers. And I think, like, why can't girls and boys mix?
And also I had to wear a dress to do my practical climbing of trees.
Oh, dear. That doesn't sound good.
So it's fair to say the organisation has modernised in the last 15, 20 years. Paul, who is Libby's dad, is with us as well. So you're a leader.
Yes, that's right. I'm a Cub Scout leader in Grove Scout Group.
And what do you love most about it?
I like seeing the young people gain their skills for life, really, that we can give them as scout leaders. We see them as perhaps not very confident, very young people. They're coming to me at 7.5, 8 years old, and I can see them when I meet up with them perhaps a few years later, and I see them walking around the streets of Grove, and they're very, very confident and mature young people with a sense of, I think, community pride as well that we can instill in them.
And what about that sort of, practical side of it? Because my children do something called Forest School, which I don't know whether or not you're familiar with.
That, yeah.
And so my mum said, what is that? And I said, well, that's basically what we were allowed to do as children, which is now illegal, which is sort of climb trees in the playground and that sort of thing. Have fun and be a kid. There's quite a lot of practical outdoor stuff in scouting, isn't there?
Yes, there is. I mean, we often say we like to put the out in Scout. So we're getting the young people.
I like it.
Thank you. So we're getting the young people out and about all the time. It's not just overnight residential experiences. It's hikes. It's walking around our local community. It's taking part in events around our local community. We're often at many local fetes and events, etc. It's getting our face out there, getting our name known.
And how does it differ from, say, volunteering to teach or something like that? I mean, they're kind of, I guess, there are some similarities, but it's quite different at the same time.
I think the flexibility of the Scout programme for the young people makes the volunteering experience different. If I think back to when I was a Cub and a Scout, the programme was much more prescriptive. There were things that a Scout or a Cub was expected to achieve in a particular order. Now it happens in a much more free-form way.
And Paul, what about the sort of the old versus new? I mean, we used to sing a song at the end of every week. We all stood in a circle, hold hands, sang the song. I could probably still sing it now, but I'm not going to put you through that trial. Are there sort of aspects of the traditional scouting which have been brought into modern scouting when you've been doing it a while?
Yes, we still keep some of the traditions. We open Cubs every week with the Grand Howl, which is our opening ceremony. So it's not quite a song, but it gets a bit noisy at times. So that's still there. We still, obviously, that leads us on to the flag break. So we keep with those traditions. And there's always a community St George's Day event, St George being the patron saint of scouting. So these traditions remain. But absolutely, we've got to move with the times. You can look at some of the new badges like communicator badges, where it brings in mobile phone technology and computers into the programme. And yeah, we've got to move forward to keep the young people wanting to be involved.
And fresh blood in terms of volunteering, in terms of the adults. Why should people volunteer? What do you get out of it?
You get a great sense of being part of a big worldwide family out of it. We're very much a community group in Grove. I've known many of the Scout leaders in Grove for a number of years, so they've become friends through Scouting, and I can wholeheartedly recommend it. It's very, very rewarding. You see the young people grow up so much and develop, and that's great to see.
Libby and Paul and Angie from Grove Scouts, thank you so much for coming on. I feel like I should do some sort of salute or something, but I'm just going to let you slip off into the night. And hopefully some people will hear this and come and knock on the old Arcala's door, Paul.
Well, that would be lovely. It's only a lack of adults in scouting that stops scouting growing. We've got young people on our waiting list. More adults, we could take more young people in.
Great stuff. Thank you very much.